Hello and welcome back inside the key. Elias and alongside Fuad Ahad, and we're happy to be joined by Jackson Rowe of the Golden State Warriors, joining us inside the key. Thanks for taking the time to join us on the show, Jackson. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Obviously, we know each other from your time here in the CEBL with the Blackjacks, but now, Jackson, you're going to be at training camp with Media Day beginning Monday with the Golden State Warriors. Can you just tell us your journey and how you got to this point?
It's been a long journey. I've played in so many different countries. I've played overseas. I've played in the States. I've played in the CBL, and like everything has kind of just lined up for me to get to this point, and it's all just been a blessing.
No, that's amazing. I mean, first and foremost, congratulations. This is a massive accomplishment. But you think of how many people dream this dream and how many actually get to live it out. And to see you live it out, man, congratulations. That's huge. So I have to ask for the kids kind of listening, also have this dream. Apart from being 6'7", what motivates you and drives you to take your game to the next level and kind of achieve these goals?
I think the main thing is just kind of setting up the next generation. Like every year as a country in Canada basketball, if we can just take it a step further every time, we get closer and closer to the States. And like that's just what I'm doing. Like I'm taking it step by step, day by day, trying to set up. I got a little nephew who wants to play basketball in the States, and like I can help him show him the way because I've already been through it. And so that's just like the dream is to continue to build that.
And what steps can you say specifically that he would have to take or someone that you could mentor? Because I don't know exactly if you had someone. I know you played high school ball in Utah and then you went and played your 4 years at Cal State Fullerton. But how can you help someone and give them those, pointers that maybe you didn't have growing up? Now you can tell them, yo, this is something you got to look out for, or take this step. Don't make this mistake that I made, or I went through this journey. You can avoid this.
Yeah, there's a lot of red flags that I didn't know that I obviously I had to go through it. A lot of them was just dealing with certain coaches that maybe didn't have your best interest, and you don't know that if you've never met other coaches, like you have no experience. Same with agents, meeting certain agents that don't really care about like what's best for you. But in terms of just like getting to where you need to be and having that guidance certain schools will help you benefit your game more than others just because it's just like a high. I went to a mid to low major school and I was able to figure it out. A lot of times guys will go to these high major schools and not even play for the first 3 years. And it's kind of like you kind of have to take the right steps and have the right guidance. And a lot of that comes from that experience. And that's what I feel like I can help with a lot of the next generation is kind of pointing them in the right direction.
No, that's super important because you think about achieving this dream is you work on your game, work on basketball, be in the gym, whether it's on the basketball court or in the gym, lifting weights, things like that. But you don't think about
Mhm.
those intricacies of the business side of it, right? Like who has your best
Right.
interests, the agents who have your best interests, things like that. And I don't know how much experience, because of course played some high school in the U.S. So I don't know how much experience you've had seeing high school basketball in Canada, the growth of it. And would you say it's a similar mindset where there are coaches, because I know there's prep schools in the US who have ulterior motives on their business
Absolutely.
side of things. Have you seen the
Mhm.
similar things in Canada as a warning to young Canadians going up wanting to play basketball?
Personally, no, just because I haven't, like you said, like as soon as I was 16, I left Canada to go to the States. So I didn't see too much of it in Canada. Um, but I mean, it's everywhere for like, I mean, you can't avoid it. And sometimes just working hard doesn't always work out if you don't work smart. Like you have to
Yep.
work in the right direction. And that's what's most important.
What's been your biggest learning curve? Like, what was it that, like, okay, if I could restart, I wouldn't go to, this school, for example, or, this thing that, like, came in front of you, or this biggest challenge. It's like, oh, this could have been avoided if I took this, like, just for, the next generation. And of course, you mentioned your nephew that you're helping as well. But what was the biggest, like, I guess, shock to you that you're like, whoa, it's really like there's more than just me going out there on the court and playing basketball. It's really is a business at all levels.
Yeah, I would honestly, I don't have any regrets of where I've been to just because I was able to learn from it. Like somebody has to go through it at some point, you know. But I
True.
would say like one of the most challenging was my first year overseas. Is it was like a shock, like it was like getting punched in the face because I had no I had no previous experience in like the business world of everything. And that was kind of like the hardest moment in my whole career was my first year overseas, just because I didn't have enough guidance, enough people in my corner telling me which decisions to make. And I made a lot of mistakes that first year. And like it's always the first time you go through it that's the most difficult. And just having the right people in your corner is what's going to make you help you get through it.
And that first year, I believe you played in France, was it? When you
Yeah.
went overseas. Yeah. Do you speak any French? I'm Canadian. Do you speak any French? Or...
Uh, yeah, un peu.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure
Parfait.
that helped. But I want to ask, so you played with the Warriors G League affiliate in Santa Cruz, and you of course have the experience playing overseas. You played in France, Sweden, and Germany, I believe, and
Yeah,
you've also
yeah,
played in the CEBL in Canada. From a
yeah.
competition perspective, how does the G League compare to, some of these European leagues, compared to the CEBL, and compared to, the experience you've had with NBA players and NBA training camps?
Yeah, I mean, NBA is obviously in terms of just talent and athleticism, it's not even close. It's just so far away compared to the other leagues. But the G League is kind of just like all that athleticism and youth, and it's very raw combined. It's like organized chaos kind of. It's kind of just like guys are just, having fun, like jumping, dunking everything, shooting crazy shots. And then CBL is kind of like you take some of those G League guys who do really well and you put them in an organized system, like Tajay Moore, for example, who was the MVP. Like
Hmm.
a guy like that is in the G League going crazy, dunking on people and stuff like that. But now he gets a chance to actually organize a whole offense and he gets kind of that exposure to show his skill and his talent a little more. So that's more for me what the CBL was about. And then just overseas is kind of just like more like a game of chess. Everything is like about plays, everything is about, you know, tactical stuff. So it's all helped me in my game playing in all these different places because then I could take different things from each place and apply it to my game.
How would you rank them? The different leagues you played in, the CEBL, and things like that, based on like I think everything. Obviously it's tough being overseas. We've talked to a lot of players who have gone overseas and missing family and friends. People think like, oh, I'm playing basketball for a living and I'm living in Paris, for example, for 8 months, or Rome, or somewhere in Germany, or it doesn't matter where it is, but you're away from family and friends, which is just huge, important, really big for your
Mm,
mental. And people think like, oh, he's just playing basketball, he's having fun. He can like no day is a bad day, for example, but we know like that mental side of it, how tough it is. But if you had to take all that and the living situation, the leagues and everything, how would you
mm.
rank them out of curiosity? Just to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I would put see because I'm a little biased. I'm putting the CBL first just because I
Yeah.
get to be home. Like if you want to consider everything, I get to be home in front of my family. I get to play good basketball, pay is decent. Like I don't that's like a perfect situation for me. But if I'm not being biased, I would say in terms of like the competition level, overseas is higher than the G League just because of all the tactical stuff and everything is taken a lot more serious. Um, but when you look at the players in terms of like the talent and like the raw athleticism and all that, then the G League is steps ahead of overseas, like just because there's so many athletes in the States and they all get to play in the G.
That's
Okay.
really interesting that you put it that way, because I never thought of it that way, that the G League is just kind of raw, chaotic talent just thrown out there, kind of disorganized in a sense. And uh, yeah, I'm curious to think like, how do you think that is a good product to have for the NBA to kind of funnel out, players, to bring in players from the G League? Do you think more organization would make the G League? What's your perspective, your opinion of how the G League could improve, or do you think that's how it should have that raw, chaotic athleticism?
I think G League is how it should be. I mean, you don't want to play, you shouldn't want to stay in the G League. It's supposed to be a league for the guys who are up in the NBA who are on assignments or whatever, for whatever reason, come down to the G League and kind of just like work on their game. So it's kind of like you're not trying to put them through like the most hardest league in the world. You're trying to
Mm.
help them make mistakes, make them comfortable making mistakes and learn from them. And like that's what the G League is. It's like it's okay to make mistakes in the G. Obviously before playoff, hopefully you do it before playoffs, but it's okay to make mistakes and learn and grow. And that's the purpose of the G League.
That's an interesting way to look at it because I never, people look at it as a demotion if you get sent to
Mm,
the
Right,
G League,
right,
right,
yeah,
on assignment. But now we've seen it over the last couple of years. Like if a guy's coming back from a serious injury, he'll go and, work out and practice with the G League team, get a bit of a run, and then come back. But I didn't really think of it that way. And I think you put it in such a great way, Jackson, especially for young guys who, let's say, are, maybe a lottery pick, mid to late lottery pick or a late first rounder or a second rounder that they like very much, that they can go there and learn and get
mm,
stronger, for example,
mm.
and make those mistakes and then come back and like, okay, now I know what I have to do at the NBA level to stick around. Great, honestly. I never really looked at it
yeah.
that
No,
way.
that's a perspective I never had. Like I
Yeah.
really appreciate hearing that because I never thought of it as that. And actually, I want to ask on that as well. Like, was there pressure of you know, because everyone is trying to get that promotion in a sense, was there
Mm.
pressure of like, I need to have the ball and I need to shoot all the time? Like, did you feel like there was that type of pressure? Did you feel like other guys on this team you were playing on had that type of pressure?
Absolutely. I mean, anywhere you play, there's going to be guys that are like, I need to get my issue off. I need to do this. I need to do that. And like sometimes coaches will manage it. And sometimes you get lucky and they do. Like sometimes they'll pull guys out who are not playing like good quality basketball like we do in Santa Cruz. We kind of do a good job of managing that.
Right.
But for sure, there, I mean, if you're coming down from the NBA and you're playing the G League, you're kind of looking at it like, I don't care about these guys down here. Like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get back up. Like, I
Yeah.
need to score 30 points right now. And so, it's a long game. It's 48 minutes. So there's plenty of time when those people are on the bench for guys to come out and show their games.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah. You, among other Warrior players and coaches, recently visited the San Quentin Rehabilitation Center. How was that
Yeah.
experience? And, really, I know you were involved in community here with the Ottawa Blackjacks as well, going out to different community centers with the kids and doing things like that. But how is it going to, like, like, I guess, a jail and being there for guys who are inside but making a difference as well?
It's awesome, man. Like that's my second year going there this during the summertime, and they host like a little 5-on-5 basketball game. And this is the 10th year that we did it. The Golden State Warriors are up 6-4 to the San Quentin Warriors. And it's just a good experience to be able to hear, like you get to go out and talk to these guys. They're just kind of walking around like we're at the YMCA and we're kind of just chatting and we're talking. You get to hear their story, you get to hear how grateful they are just like for us to just come and talk to them just because, some people make some wrong decisions in their life, unfortunately,
Right.
and they can't take it back, so all they can do is just continue to live their life and try to make the most of it. And there's like a feeling of gratitude in that you can take with you when you leave. It's like there's so many problems that are going on, but as long as you can like just be grateful for the situation that you have, like it could be worse. So it was
Right.
just a great experience to hear their stories and to watch a little 5-on-5 game. It's always fun. And yeah, it was a nice experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
gotta.
I
That's the bigger picture, right, Jackson? Is
exactly.
like someone is
Yeah,
always going. Like sometimes I'm like, yo, man, why is this going on? Or why did this happen in my life? For example, why am I not getting this opportunity? But someone out there is in worse shoes than me, and I have to be thankful and
absolutely.
grateful for what I have to be able to do and wake up, have a roof on top of my head. There's a lot of bad going on in the world, and it's you got to take a second to realize that. And for you to be able to go there and see people who, you get to spend the day with them and, basketball and they have fun, but you're going back out to the real world to the people you
Yeah,
love that you can see. And unfortunately, they're going to be locked up in a cell for that night. You know what I mean? So it really puts you, it really humbles you, to say the
yeah,
least, for sure.
yeah,
So it's important
yeah,
to have that perspective for sure. Like there's a total different conversation about that system and everything, of course. But for the Warriors and for the NBA, NBA is always involved in these community cares kind of thing. So it's important to see that, and
Hmm.
it's nice that you got to be involved in and experience that the last couple of years. Now going into this season, we talked just before this. You got BD Day coming up on Monday. You're gonna get
Yep.
freshened up for that. So going into this, what are your goals and what are your expectations for yourself with the Warriors and what's coming forward this season for you?
Yeah, I mean, anything's on the table at this point. I already did my first year in Santa Cruz, so they kind of know what they can get out of me. Now it's just proving it with other NBA guys on the court. I mean, they're obviously I'm here, they brought me back for a reason. They like what I can do. So it's really just about like how can I help the Golden State Warriors win games the same way I helped win games in Santa Cruz. And it's just that simple. There's no crazy master plan. I need to do this or that. It's really just that simple.
Yeah. And you're established, right? Jackson, you've played overseas for a couple of years. You played in Canada a couple of summers. Like you mentioned, you've already played in the G League. You had a great summer league. I was watching from home. So
Appreciate
that
that.
was good to see you do your thing with the Warriors in the summer league. And obviously, I covered you while you were here in Ottawa for a couple of summers and saw the way your game developed. Very underrated in my opinion. I don't think you get enough credit for what you do on the court. Extremely good rebounder for your size as well. And you can shoot it from all over the court for real. Before we let you go, we mentioned the CBL a lot. It's here in Canada. You played in it for a few summers. How important is it to have a league like that in Canada, and how has it helped you develop your game and your journey to the NBA now?
Yeah, the CBL is like a perfect stepping stone for not only just the young guys like that are trying to get their feet wet in the pro game, but just like guys who kind of use the CBL to get exposure for those G League teams and for those NBA teams because everybody's always watching, even overseas. Like somebody is always watching you play if the camera is on. And a lot of guys I know have gotten jobs based on CBL or wherever else, like overseas and the G League and stuff like that. So it's important that Canada continues to build up our basketball, especially the CEBL, because it opens up opportunity, and then the more opportunity you have, the more growth, and so on and so on. So I hope that everybody kind of stands behind the CEBL and the Canadian Basketball League and trying to build it up to kind of catch up to, it feels like we're kind of behind in terms of the states and other countries, but just kind of continue to build where we can, instead of guys having to go overseas, we can stay in Canada for a season for 10 months, you know?
Right.
That's
Right.
like that would be a perfect
I
goal for
think that's the
someone.
next. I think that's the next step for sure because now next year they've expanded the regular season to 24 games instead of
Okay.
20. So that's
Yeah.
a step. But I've had conversations with people like when this league first started, and they said for it to be like to take that next step and elevate, it has to become a fall league and not like a
Exactly.
summer league and guys be here for 10 months and but you need more money, more sponsorship and guys need to because you're getting paid pretty well if you go overseas, and
Yeah.
compared to what you get paid here in the summer. But you said it's a stepping stone and guys have been able to turn that into like yearly contracts or big lucrative contracts in Europe and two-way
Hmm.
deals and some guys like AJ Lawson, for example, is a standard
Yep.
NBA deal. So
Yeah.
we've seen what it can do, and that definitely is the next step for the CEBL for everyone involved. I think even us as broadcasters, it's great and gives us exposure, and people are always listening and watching. And of course, for you guys to keep you at home longer than just 3, 4 months, to keep you at home close to families for 10 months, where we can go and watch you every single day would be great. Jackson will really appreciate it. Good luck
Yeah.
this year. We're rooting for you, and I know we'll be in touch. Thanks again for joining us inside the key. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys for having me, man. Thank you so much.